sky was full of dark stars. Amira Kovan watched as the galaxies, which once carried light for humanity, had now turned into an endless void. The Star Alliance, once full of victories, had now fallen apart and been forgotten. But Amira's battle wasn't over yet. For her, this wasn't just a war, it was the end of all existence. Her ship, Aegis, moved through the most dangerous corners of deep space as threats grew from above. The crew of Aegis, after surviving countless battles, was physically and mentally exhausted. But this crew had one purpose: to stop the celestial apocalypse. "The power systems are stable, Captain," said Dr. Leon Gardner, the ship's science officer. "But the energy waves we're receiving are very strong. We might need to go deeper to find the source of these waves." Amira took a deep breath, looking out of the window. "We've come this far. There's no turning back. We need to be ready for battle." The ship's combat officer, Nova Saren, was tracking the data streams from her console. Her face was hard, but the determination in her eyes was still there, as always. "Captain, these energies are unfamiliar. This isn't like anything we know." Amira noticed the growing vibrations felt in every part of the ship. The universe seemed to be pulling toward one point. This was what they called the celestial apocalypse, a collapse that could end all of reality. But this wasn't just an end, it was also a beginning. As Aegis moved deeper into the unknown, the tension increased with every passing second. Leon frowned as he carefully analyzed the energy data on the screen. These waves, they suggest an interdimensional collapse. If this is true, our reality will completely change. Nova paused for a moment. What if it's not just an end? Maybe the celestial apocalypse is a gateway. Leon nodded. That could be theoretically possible, but I'm not sure we can control such a power. This is far beyond our understanding. Amira listened to her crew, lost in thought. But inside, she felt a deep fear. They didn't know what to do to stop the celestial apocalypse. The only thing they knew was that this collapse could end the universe. "No matter what," Amira said firmly, "we've come this far. Since the fall of the Alliance, we've had one goal: to end the war. If we don't stop the celestial apocalypse, everything will be destroyed." Nova gripped her sword tightly. "We are warriors. If we have to fight to win this war, we'll risk everything." As Aegis approached an unknown energy source, the ship's front cameras revealed a massive structure. This structure was unlike anything made by humans. Symbols glowed on its surface, and energies swirled around its edges, suggesting that an ancient power had built it. Amira squinted at the screen. This must be a gateway. Maybe the celestial apocalypse starts from here. Leon's face grew serious as he analyzed the data. It's a gateway, but it leads outside our universe. This much energy, it may not be possible to control. Just then, a vibration from the structure shook the ship. Alarms blared in every part of the ship as consoles flashed on and off. Nova quickly drew her sword and got ready. An attack. Leon hurriedly checked the console. No, it's not an attack. It's the gateway itself. It's activating. Amira directed all the ship's power toward the gateway. Stabilize all systems. We need to keep control of the gateway. At that moment, a blast of energy shot out from the structure, bending the space around Aegis. Time and space seemed to collapse within themselves. Amira and her crew felt reality change. They were no longer just standing in front of a gateway. They were on the edge of another dimension. After passing through the interdimensional gateway, Aegis found itself in a universe they had never known. This universe operated beyond the physical laws they were familiar with. The stars glowed in strange shapes, and the sky was filled with endless darkness. "Where are we?" Jax asked, looking around in shock. Leon studied the data on the screen. "This isn't our universe. We crossed dimensions, and now we're in a completely different reality." Amira quietly looked out the window. "Is this where the celestial apocalypse is?" Leon nodded. "This could be where the apocalypse begins, but stopping such a powerful collapse might be impossible." Just then, an unknown entity appeared. It floated like a shadow, almost immaterial, but the lights flashing in its eyes showed that it was ancient and powerful. Could this be one of the beings that once protected the balance of the universe? "What do you want from us?" Amira asked, drawing her sword, but the entity didn't speak. Instead, it communicated through a mental link. The celestial apocalypse is not just an end, it is the rebirth of the universe. But this rebirth could mean the end of all life forms. Your destiny is to break this cycle. Amira tried to understand what the entity was saying. How? How can I stop this collapse? The entity showed her an image in her mind, an energy source spreading its power to the deepest parts of the universe. This power had the potential to either destroy or rebirth the universe. To complete your mission, you must push beyond your limits. Go beyond time and space. Bend reality. As Amira tried to understand the images in her mind, Aegis was suddenly attacked. A massive energy wave hit the ship, overwhelming the systems. "We're under attack," Jax shouted. Leon hurriedly checked the console. "These are energy waves. They're from the apocalypse itself. The systems can't handle this much power." Amira quickly sprang into action, giving orders to the crew. "Activate the defense shields. Redirect all energy." But the enemy was more than just an energy wave. The celestial apocalypse seemed like a living being, attacking and consuming the universe from all sides. Time and space had collided. It wasn't just Aegis. The entire universe was being swallowed by this collapse. "We have to win this war," Nova shouted, drawing her sword as they fought to survive through the energy bursts. But the enemy seemed unbeatable. Amira felt her determination grow. "We will win this war. No matter what, we will stop the celestial apocalypse." The battle had reached a point where the fate of the entire universe was being decided. As Aegis pushed toward the center of the celestial apocalypse, Amira and her crew were pushing their limits. This wasn't just a fight for survival. It was a war to change the fate of the universe. Amira thought about the energy source the entity had shown her in her mind. Bend reality. Go beyond time. In one last move, Aegis directed all its energy toward the center of the celestial apocalypse. This attack could completely change the balance of the universe. But there was no other choice. The war had to end. As Aegis approached the heart of the celestial apocalypse, everything in the ship trembled. Reality seemed to bend like a touchable fabric. Amira gathered the energy needed for the final strike as the voices in her mind continued to echo. The energy source the entities had shown her could be the ultimate solution. But this power was strong enough to disrupt the balance of the entire universe. Nova approached her, gripping her sword tightly. "Do we have a plan to end this battle, Captain? Or are we just getting swept up in the current?" Amira thought for a moment. Their plan was to attack the celestial apocalypse and stop it. But the power they were up against was far more than just a weapon. It was the universe itself. If they touched this energy the wrong way, everything could end. "There's a power guiding us, Nova," Amira said, staring into the deep void. "But we have to use it. We have no other chance to end this war." Aegis had reached the exact center of the celestial apocalypse. Everything around them was changing. Lights were bending, and time seemed to slow down. It was like a black hole pulling all of reality into itself, swallowing it and giving birth again. Leon squinted at the energy's intensity. "We shouldn't do this. This is something outside the natural order. If we interfere, everything could collapse." Amira ran her hand across the console and closed her eyes. The voices of the entities echoed in her mind once again. Ending this war was in their hands, but this power was too great to control. "This will be our last mission," Amira said quietly. "If we don't stop the celestial apocalypse, no one will survive. But if we manage to control it, maybe we can rebuild the universe." Nova tightly gripped her sword and frowned. "But what if it's the end for us?" Amira opened her eyes and looked at Nova. "Maybe it will be, but we have to take this risk." Jax spoke hesitantly, interrupting. "And what if we lose everything? Not just us, the whole universe. Everything could be destroyed." Amira understood Jax's fear, but she knew that fear couldn't hold them back. Their only chance was to win this war. They would either win by fighting or lose everything. We're going to risk everything, Amira said. This war isn't just for us. It's for the universe. At that moment, a massive energy wave burst from the center of the celestial apocalypse. This wave didn't just bend space, it bent time and matter as well. Amira and her crew felt reality bending around them. But the war had already begun. Aegis launched a full-powered attack. Nova directed the energy herself, wielding her sword, while Leon worked to stabilize the systems. Jax activated the defense systems to protect the ship from outside attacks. "I've never seen anything like this," Leon said in awe. "This isn't just a battle. This could be the end of the universe." Amira paused for a moment, tracking all the ship's systems. "This will be our final battle. If we don't win, everything will end." Nova wielded her sword, trying to deflect the incoming energy attacks. But these energies weren't like simple weapons. Each one was as powerful as a star exploding. "We have to win this war," Nova shouted, her eyes flashing with the fury of battle. Amira closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Once again, the voices of the entities echoed in her mind. They needed to reach the center of the celestial apocalypse. Once there, they could make their final move. But that move would change everything. As Aegis moved toward the center of the celestial apocalypse, everything seemed to slow down. Time had almost come to a stop. Lights, matter, and energy were melting into each other and being reborn. Leon held his breath as he watched the screens. This can't be possible. All of reality is collapsing. Nova closed her eyes, focusing on the intense energy she was feeling. This isn't just a war. This is the end of everything. Amira stood at the console, trying to make sense of reality. The voices in her mind were telling her how the war would end. But it was impossible to know what the outcome would be. The celestial apocalypse would decide their fate. As Amira prepared to make her final move, Aegis systems were overwhelmed with energy bursts. Explosions echoed from every corner of the universe, stretching the boundaries of time and space, reshaping reality. "This is impossible," Leon said, his eyes glued to the screen. "The entire universe is reshaping itself." But how? Amira closed her eyes and made the ultimate decision. "We must bend reality. We must determine our own fate." And at that moment, Aegis and its crew directed all their energy toward the center of the celestial apocalypse. This move had the power to reshape the existence of the universe. When the battle ended, the universe fell silent. Amira and her crew sat quietly in the control room of Aegis. They had won, but the cost of victory was high. The celestial apocalypse had been stopped, but the universe had been reborn. "Everything has changed," Nova said, staring into the void. "But we don't know what kind of universe we're in now." Amira took a deep breath and looked out the window. A new universe, a new reality had begun. But this new beginning meant everything had to be rediscovered. And so, Celestial Apocalypse, Amira's final battle, came to an epic end. Amira and her crew had stopped the Celestial Apocalypse and restored the balance of the universe. But in doing so, they had also birthed a new reality. This new universe was a place they would have to explore and understand.